We have also started exploring the idea of a learning environment like this one. This is via Google Slides. Uh, it's a simple collection of shapes, if you will, where the students can freely, upon the introduction of a topic, can freely explore that topic by themselves without the traditional teacher being the source of the knowledge and lecturing and giving out the inputs. Here, we just provided them with the initial materials and we tasked them by groups to, again, explore the web, see what they can learn, explore the materials, the worksheets that we gave to them. And here, basically, this is uh, uh, a virtual Freyer model where they describe a certain concept, and we did this to 14 different properties of numbers that we covered. And again, this is by Google Slides, and the students made this themselves. Speaking about something that is made by students, here we have another PowerPoint presentation, but in the form of a game. My students were able to craft this. This is, I think, based on a game called Among Us. I think they're quite fond of this game. And here, it's a very simple game because we also cannot expect our students to be experts at programming. They are in grade 7 after all, but the idea is that here in such opportunities they can unleash their creativity like so. No, there's an explosion and stuff there where they can input their answers. This is all student made, by the way. Next, we also take pride, actually, our team in our subject area in trying to train our students to be really good problem solvers. And we do that by providing them regularly with non-routine problem solving tasks like this one. Our mascot here is Count Von Count from Sesame Street. And this started even before the pandemic. We just translated it in a virtual environment where we, via Google Slides, post our questions. And then after some time, we reveal the answer and a possible solution on that website, as well as the winners. We turn this into some form of a simple tournament for our students. And they like this. We have tremendous participation in this every week. Our students always ask us, will there be problem of the night? And this is a misnomer, perhaps. It's not really implemented at night. We just call it that because our mascot is a vampire, of course. Next one. Here we have, we also focus on having students discover the information and make conjectures rather than us providing them with the concepts. Here, this is a simple slide where a student can make editings, can input conjectures, can input values here in the orange table. But what is most important in this slide right here is that there is an embedded link right under the instruction here. Follow the instructions on GA8D. That is a working link that directs them to a teacher-made applet. Our team also constructed this applet, and it's about, in this case, parallelograms, where they would discover 3 particular properties of parallelograms. And you will see here, there are multiple buttons that they can toggle, checkboxes rather, that they can toggle, and they can manipulate that parallelogram. And for themselves, that's the goal, for them to be able to see for themselves what the properties are. Regardless of how they tweak the shape, they should be able to detect 3 properties here. Number 1, that the opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Number 2, that the interior angles, first, the opposite ones are congruent and the consecutive ones are supplementary. And finally here, we're trying to make them discover that the diagonals bisect each other for a parallelogram. Now again, this is take off from the classical setup where the teacher dictates these or posts them or writes them on the board and has the student take them down on their notebook and memorize them. This is a really good activity, and we've seen how much deeper the students' understanding gets after they engage such activities. And finally, we also emphasize the use of materials that develop insight. Here, we, again, this is a lesson on sets applying the Venn diagrams. Here, we use the context of vaccines. 3 among the many vaccines that are available in the Philippines are highlighted in this presentation here. This is still via Google Slides. And if you notice, there are links there that they can click onto. The first one here directs them to the Department of Health, the Philippine Department of Health, where they can find information on vaccines. And the other link is for CDC, Centers for Disease Control. So they get to develop a deeper understanding of these vaccines and not just what they hear from from social media, which is still okay. But here, basically, this is fact based. This is these are information from the DOH and the CDC, and they are really accurate data, and they're able to engage with those data by themselves. Now, here are some of the key learnings that we've had over the last 2 school years. Number one, we'd like to imagine that ALMs, asynchronous learning materials, or asynchronous learning itself, should not be something that is closely associated only with online learning. Rather, it should be an educational staple. That is something that should be explored by schools everywhere, in that its effectiveness has time and again been proven in studies, in international studies, even before the pandemic. We also learned that providing these opportunities for students to discover the learning by themselves rather than us providing it for them makes their understanding of concepts much deeper than what it classically was. Student engagement is much higher. Student performance is significantly higher as well, and they're far more interested. We have also spoken with parents and how parents themselves, when they see the materials being engaged by their students, but by their sons, they actually learn from our materials as well, which is a good thing to hear from our stakeholders. And the idea also that asynchronous learning materials, that idea is for lazy teachers. No, it actually is the opposite. The development of these materials is actually quite tasking. It's challenging. It's not impossible, of course, but it is very challenging. But once these materials are ready, are developed, you can reuse them year after year with just minor revisions to them. Now, finally, here are some recommendations that our grade 7 team from the Ateneo Junior High School can make to hopefully give to other teachers in the field. Number one, to pioneer initiatives like these, in your individual schools, even if and when we do come back to school. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later. One of the reasons why our grade 7 team was able to maximize these endeavors was that even before the pandemic, we were already pioneering them. We were already exploring the idea of flipped classrooms. So when the 2020-2021 school year came in, the transition was relatively smooth and seamless. Number two, try it out first in your classes and share what your experiences are to your teacher friends. Turning this into a departmental effort may seem like something too much to ask immediately. So, individual classes first, document all the stages of the implementation, and share with your teammates what the learnings and challenges are of implementing such practices. And finally, consistently solicit feedback from parents, from students especially, in the use of these various modalities and platforms. It's very easy, of course, to get lost in all the excitement of learning new things and using all these new things in the classroom. But it's always good to remind ourselves, to remember that these technologies and these initiatives are only a means to an end, and that our curricular goals for our students, their well-being, their mental, physical, and intellectual well-being should still be at the center of all our collective action.